Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, Meredith and Shazam. I mean, that was off the hook. That was really touching. And so today I want to talk about not only the healing power of love, but the healing power of prayer. And I think that prayer actually softens the surface so that love can do its magic. And so it's not one or the other. I think they're a combo package. It's a burrito. And Marilyn started out in her musing this month, which was really quite beautiful. And it was a quote from Kathleen Norris. And it said, prayer is not asking for what you think you want, but asking to be changed in ways you can't imagine. My sense is prayer is not really petitioning to change circumstances, although that's what we want. That's what our human condition wants. Prayer is really about changing ourselves, changing our relationship to the circumstances. And what I mean by that, is it really our circumstances or is it our relationship to the circumstances? I don't like rap music. It resonates in my heart in such a way that I feel violent or violated, and I don't like it. That's my relationship to the music. That has nothing to do with rap music, because there are so many people that really enjoy that and resonate with it. So is it the circumstances in life that I'm wanting to change? Or perhaps it's my relationship I could look to the circumstances with. And when we talk about healing, healing is about changing our relationship to what is so in the moment. And when we start to pray for circumstances only, there's not a lot of evidence that we're going to change a hurricane with our prayers. Those are circumstances. There's a lot of circumstances like the death of our loved ones and what happens there in grief. It's hard to change those circumstances. Those are facts. Those are reality, but we can change how we hold them. And perhaps that's the best that we can do with prayer, is to simply change us. And what I know about prayer is the words are capsules. They're small capsules that encompass the vitamin or the nutrition within. And the nutrition within the prayer is our heart's desire and our heart's need. And what that means is when there is a real need, when we're in our hour of darkness, and we simply let it be and invite an answer or pray for an answer, in my experience, the answer comes. And sometimes when we're in such need, the answer comes even before it's bidden. It just arrives. And so I want to tell the story of Doris. And Doris was a divorced mom, had 4 kids, was having a tough time working 2 jobs and making ends meet. And Doris didn't have time for a relationship. However, she really, really wanted one, and she needed help raising the kids. And she, her focus was the kids and trying to take care of them, and it was just getting too much. And so in her hour of darkness, she prayed. She prayed to have a partner that could help her with her kids and that could help her sort of regain her life, because she was drowning, simply drowning. And so about 2 weeks after that prayer, she noticed, and she worked in a clothing store, one of her jobs, and she noticed this man dealing with his two younger daughters, and he was with them shopping. And the way he interacted with the girls was really, really attracted her to him. And I forgot that her prayer was, she prayed, I have 4 kids. I don't have time. I don't have time for relationship. It's going to have to be easy. Help. And that was, but it was heartfelt, and that was within her capsules, but she really meant it. So here she is, and she's noticing this guy, and she's watching him, and he comes up and he's paying for the items, and something in her just snaps, and she says, I'm divorced. I have 4 kids. I don't have time for dating. Will that work for you? And he said, okay. And they exchanged phone numbers and got together, and they blended their families. Something in her changed. The prayer changed her, because he had visited, she found out, that store many times before, and he was too frightened to say something. But he would come to that store to see her. So he had a relationship with her, but she couldn't see him. She needed to be changed. And the way I see prayer working is when we're in that need, something organizes within our subconscious. So what we see before us, which doesn't seem possible, that sight gets wiped clean and we can see more clearly. She could now see the possibility. She could now see this man. And it's been said, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. So when we start changing our vision, cleaning our glasses, taking the time to simply look more deeply, miracles can happen. And I think this is the power of prayer, is that prayer invites that cleansing, invites us to change in ways that we have no idea. And it's not about just petitioning. It's really about our change. And probably the scariest thing is when we change towards being more loving, because it's the love that actually is the healing aspect. Doris was healed, uplifted. The prayer got her to the place where love could do the healing. You see that? So, what's prayer really about? Prayer is really about letting go of control, simply allowing things to be. It's not really about demanding change, but allowing things to simply rest. Prayer elicits a relaxation response. When we go into prayer, we quiet down. And in that quieting, what happens is we move from a flight, fight, anxiety type of situation. That turns off when we go into prayer, and we go into what we call a rest digest mode. So these are some of the healing aspects of simply going into prayer. Meditation is another word for it, but it's that quiet, receptive place where we simply drop in. And in that dropping in, the song says it so perfectly. In our hour of darkness, in our times of troubles, there is something that comes to us. Can we listen to those words of wisdom, letting it be? Maybe we don't stir the water. Maybe we just take our stick out of the water and stop stirring the water and let the muddy water simply go to the bottom and the water clears by itself. So the healing power of prayer, the healing power of prayer hopefully tells us to take the stick out of the water, to stop stirring the water and making the mud, opens us up to the possibility of love. And when love emerges, when we have that strength and courage to actually love, this is when the miracles happen. It's been said that to be loved, to actually be loved, it kind of like gives us wings, like in the Red Bull commercial. To be loved by someone uplifts us in such a way that it improves our self-esteem. We can take a big breath. The world looks different. It doesn't, we're no longer alone. It's like, wow. It's like we're rejuvenated. It gives us strength. So to be loved by someone gives us strength, but we have to be available for it. And I know that if my hand is closed, it's really hard to receive love. And when I'm holding on tight, it's really hard to receive it. However, when we're loved, and when we're loved consistently, it melts that hand. That hand starts to relax. It doesn't feel so fearful. It starts to open. And as we open, we can start to give, and the flow starts back and forth. And it either starts by loving, we open the hands, or it either starts just by receiving. This flow starts, and it really is the flow that we feel when we say, I feel you. You know, when we're in conversation, when we're looking in someone's eyes and we get lost and we feel safe and connected and seen, there's something magical happens within us, within our nervous systems. And this is the healing part. This is the part that energizes us and has health benefits. And there are so many studied health benefits to love, the bedside manner. They say that probably more patients have been healed by the bedside manner than the actual medicines. It was that comfort, the comfort of the hand being seen, being held in those times when it's really, really tough. Sarah Silverman is a pretty funny comic. And a couple of years back, she talked about getting a tweet from somebody. And this guy was really angry at her. And he was nasty and snarky and and she thought, well, I'm going to take this guy on. I'm going to show him, and I'm going to write something back just as snarky and clever, and I'll get a big hoop from my Twitter fans. And she thought about that, and she said, yeah, let's just take a look here. So she did. She looked at his Twitter feed and realized how much pain that he was in, and perhaps where his pain was coming from. And she decided not to kind of like attack back, but to send him love. And this is how she did it. She wrote back, I believe in you. I see what you're doing. And your rage is thinly veiled pain. I know the feeling. See what happens when you choose love. I can see it in you. And so she wrote that to him. And if someone wrote that back to me, either I would go ballistic or I would melt. And fortunately, the guy melted. And he wrote back and he poured his heart out to her. And he said, what the troubles he was having, his addiction, his back pain, his marriage, the whole thing, and how troubled he was. And so she listened and she wrote back and recommended a doctor and some therapy group to help with addiction, AA meetings, that kind of thing. And she also invited her followers to help pay for his medical expenses because he was out of work. And this outpouring of love that came towards him just blew him away. And within 2 weeks, he was writing back saying, "You have saved my life. Saved my life." So it's interesting. Just one reach out that Sarah stopped. She stopped her habit of responding or reacting. And for that moment, saw something welled up within her where she saw him for who he was. And we have this ability. And this is what we do in community. In communities like this is where we see and recognize one another. And it is our joy to uplift one another. The idea of spreading joy is not only infectious, but it works. It really, really works. And one of the best ways to spread joy and love is to withhold our opinions, is to simply let our opinions be and let them go and just greet people freshly today. How are you today? And not to rely on my experience of you from the last many years. How do I greet you today? And I think this is how we heal the world. And this is the healing power of simply being kind to one another. And that's what love is kindness. Kindness is love in action. It's the manifestation of love. So we demonstrate love through our kindness, through our listening, through our contribution to one another. And when we do this as groups and in groups, we start to bridge the gap between peoples. And that's what the world is needing always, is that coming together so that we're knowing that we're together and that we're not separate from one another and that we need one another. I think our greatest purpose, and this is my closing, our greatest purpose is to become masters of giving and receiving love, not just being good at it, but really to become a master of it. And that takes work. That takes courage and it takes strength. And we start by giving a little, and we start by receiving a little. And sometimes it's very easy to receive. Sometimes it's very hard to receive. Sometimes it's hard to give. Let's make it easy. And I have 2 cats at home. And they remind me again and again. And they bring out the best in me. And then if I can extend that to Susan, I'm doing great. Because I think the people that are closest to us are our biggest challenge. Because they know us so well. And so if we can love the ones that are closest to us, truly love them, and I'm listening to myself talk right now, I'm going, oh boy, I've got some work to do. But if we can truly do that, there is hope for the planet. There truly is hope for the planet. So let's take all of this into prayer. As we simply breathe in this precious moment, recognizing the preciousness and the divine gift of the body that's sitting in your chair, that we simply rest for this moment and let it be, knowing that there's nowhere else to go other than to be here present in this moment. And as we tap in deeply to this moment, we discover that this moment is filled with a vibration that vibrates our body, that breathes us. And we can call this vibration, this energy, love. And this love sustains us. And so I call forth a new way of expressing this vibration, that I take away any sense of stinginess, knowing that there is a full supply, endless supply of love that we can share, of kindness that we can share, knowing that when we give with no string attached, that is the best feeling of all, that it simply flies and lets loose. So I claim for today and for this point forward that we become wild and that we love out loud, that we spread joy, that we change ourselves through prayer in ways that are beyond our imagination. And we start with this moment. We start with right now. And for all of this, and for everyone on this call and the beyond, this message, that this message grows, absolutely grows, and continues to ripple out. For this I'm grateful, and we let it be by saying, and so it is. Amen.